All right, Tuesday the 7th, we have upper body. So we have chest flies, push-ups, skull crushers. Again, I'm just gonna quickly run through for the people that may already know this. Not the best way is to get the angle on this, but so it's your chest fly, push-up. So again, this has many modifications. This could be off of your chair, this could be kneeling, this could be full. And skull crushers, you can use 1. You could have 2. Okay. Body weight renegade rows. So again, you could do kneeling, you could do regular high plank. Okay, doing those rows. All right, chest flies. So you're gonna have a dumbbell in each hand. You're gonna lay on your back. And what you're doing is you're working your pecs. So you're working your chest, you're working kind of from the middle over to like the armpit area. So that's where you should feel it. You're gonna have your dumbbells and you're gonna start with them out to the side, okay? So again, I don't know which way, I guess this way you can see better. So see how my arms are not flat on the ground? My elbows are touching the ground and then the weights are bended up. So my elbows are bent. So I'm gonna keep that form the whole time. So I'm gonna come up to the middle, squeeze your chest, release, hit that form again, okay? So I'm not like relaxing down to the ground. Squeeze, 2. Squeeze, 3. So you also want to make sure that you take these nice and slow. You want to concentrate on squeezing your chest, okay? So you don't want to think about just lifting your arms. You want to think about squeezing your chest. And that sounds like, well, how do I know the difference? But you will know. If you are thinking about squeezing that chest muscle, and sometimes I do this in my groups, take your hand, put it right here, put your arm out, squeeze up. You're going to feel it get tight and then release. Tight and then release. So that's what you want to think about when you're doing. You don't want to think just, okay, flail my arms up and down, because when I'm doing that, nothing's actually getting tight. I'm basically rotating out my shoulder versus squeezing my chest together, okay? So that is your chest fly. Push-up. So you have your full push-up, which is like plank position. You have your kneeling push-up, and then you can do push-ups off of a height, which would be your chair. You could do it like off of your couch, or you could even do it off of a wall, which is very high incline if you like are horrible at them and you can't do anything at all, okay? So I'm gonna just talk through the kneeling one for the demonstration purpose. So basically when you do your push-up, what you want to focus on is you want everything to move as one, okay? So when you go down, your chest and your butt and everything that is moving, your hips, should be going down together and coming up together, right? So a lot of times what happens is people go to do a push-up and they have their butt up in the air and their shoulders sink down, okay? So see how I'm making like a diagonal? Or the other way, their hips sink down and then their upper body barely moves. So now I'm making a diagonal the other way. What you want to focus on is getting everything to move down and up together, okay? So how you do that is you make sure that your spine is neutral. So from your head to your tailbone, everything is in line, okay? So your butt's not way up here, your hips aren't sunken down. It's just a nice neutral stance. So it's almost like if you were to just be kneeling on all fours, stretch your arms out a little bit. So you're gonna get kind of an angle and your butt, again, should be in line with everything else. You're gonna sink down, press up, sink down, press up, everything together. Same thing with the full. But now you're including your feet. So you need to be in line from your basically shoulder, head, neck area to your feet. Everything should drop down together. So you shouldn't be doing this. I see this a lot. If you space your feet out, get a wider stance, it makes it a little bit easier. But I suggest if you're struggling with the full, just drop down to your knees, or you can even do kneeling chair or like a high plank chair. So kneeling chair, this chair is like not ideal for these demonstrations because it's so light, it like moves and it's like doesn't have like the widest base at the bottom, so that actually like hurts my elbows to fit my hands in there. Maybe I can use this part. But so you're basically kneeling and using, it's like sliding away, your chair, or you could do like a high plank version where you're still up, but you have that height incline. So anything that we do with plank, push-up, anything along those lines, the higher your upper body is off of the ground, the easier it is. And then if you were looking to make things more difficult, say you're in a plank position or even a push-up, if you were to elevate your feet, the other end, it's gonna make it harder. So anytime we're doing something where we're in a plank position, or you can kneel, or there's a chair option, the chair option is always gonna be the easiest because you're elevated the highest by the front of your body. So all the weight load is on your upper body. So the higher you are up, the less weight you have on your upper body. The lower you are down, the more weight is coming down on your upper body. So if you're ever confused, elevate your upper body means it's easier, okay? And then again, if you wanted to like ever increase your plank difficulty, or even with push-ups, if you're like a master push-up person, you could always elevate your feet, and that's gonna give you even more pressure on your upper body, okay? Skull crushers. This one you can use one dumbbell or two. The difference is if you use one, both of your hands are holding the same dumbbell. So whenever, if you move your right arm, your left arm's gonna move. So you're always gonna be moving together. So this might be a better option for somebody who's never done this before, because you don't have to worry about moving your arms individually. If you have done it before, or you have very good coordination and whatever, you can try the individual, because now you have to make sure that they're moving together on your own because they're each holding their own weights, okay? So that's the main difference. So your skull crusher is working your tricep, which is the back of your arm. So the opposite of your bicep, your tricep back here. So if you do one, you're gonna hold it like this. You're gonna be on your back, your knees are gonna be bent, your head is gonna be on the ground. Your arms are gonna come up over your kind of chest head area, and you're gonna lower the weight at the elbow down to basically your head, and then you're gonna come back up, okay? So your arm is staying straight above, and the only thing that's moving is your elbow is bending, okay? Up. Slow lower. Up, all right? If you were holding two dumbbells, again, they're gonna have to move in unison even though you're holding two different weights. So this time, the weight is gonna go to the side of your head. The other one, it kind of goes on top of your head. If you have two, they're gonna kind of fall to the side of your head. But you wanna do these nice and slow, because again, you wanna make sure that your hands are moving at the same time and that you're not working one arm more than the other, okay? So if you're having an issue with that, I would switch over to just holding the one dumbbell. Now, when you're done with your rounds, you have a timer, but again, so what I mentioned is we don't typically do Tabata timer as is. We typically modify it, which is what we're doing in this workout, where you get to pick your seconds work and your seconds rest. And again, I type it all out for you how to input that. So we're doing body weight renegade rows. So I put that because renegade rows are typically done with dumbbells. If you want to, you can add the dumbbells in, but remember you are on a timer, so that makes it a lot more difficult. So you're gonna either be on your knees or you're gonna be in high plank position. So when I talked about that before with your push-up and I talked about everything being in line, I'm gonna, say it a million times in my demo videos. Whenever you're doing high plank position, you always want to make sure that everything is in line. So you never want your butt to be way up. You never want your hips to be sunken down. Everything needs to be in line. And when you're talking about the front of your body, your shoulder, your elbow, and your wrist should be stacked. So that means how they're all in line. If I'm back here, they're not stacked. If I'm way over here, they're not stacked. It's got to all be in line, okay? So that's your high plank position. So we use high plank for tons of exercises that we do. So with your renegade row, you're in high plank position. You're gonna widen your stance a little bit because we're gonna be lifting our arms off the ground. So every time you shift your weight, you're gonna have to, stabilize yourself. So you don't want your feet too close together because it might make it just way too unstable. So what you're doing is you're lifting up one arm to your chest, right? Back down, opposite. So what you're doing here is you're doing rows. What rows do is they work your back. So when you pull that arm up to your chest, think about squeezing that shoulder blade, okay? That's what you're doing with your row. You're squeezing that shoulder blade, down, up, squeeze, 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 okay? So again, this is what you're basically doing in your plank. Squeeze that shoulder, okay? Now, when you do anything in high plank where you're moving your arms or doing something like that, you want to make sure that you're keeping your core engaged and you're keeping everything tight. So you don't want to rock. So you shouldn't be doing this. Okay? Everything should stay as still as it can and tight as it can, and it's just a lift of the arm, a lift of the arm, lift of the arm, lift of the arm. So you don't want to rock, you don't want to open up your hips and turn your body. Squeeze everything as tight as you can. If you have trouble doing that, you can go down to your knees. If you need further modification, you could go down to your knees and on a chair. Okay? So again, there's always a million options, usually floor, kneeling, and chair. And you can do that for everything. So if I ever forget to mention, sometimes I forget to mention the chair for certain exercises. If you can do it on there and it looks right and it feels right, go for it. Sometimes I just forget. There's sometimes so many modifications I forget. But that is your Tuesday.